Hello and welcome to the podcast Peace Matters, an IIP and Ponto podcast which deals with contemporary conflicts all around the globe and how to solve them. On the 27th of November 2023, the IIP organized an international conference dealing with the South Caucasus, and we are going to release a series of podcasts dealing with Armenian-Azerbaijan conflict, regional powers, and European Union integration, possible European Union integration of Georgia.
Hi, this is the second part of our short series of podcasts on South Caucasus region. My name is Marila Hushcha, I'm researcher at the International Institute for Peace. I'm talking to Mustafa Aydin and Kirill Krivosheev about regional powers in the South Caucasus. We mainly discuss Turkey and Russia and how they're involved in the Armenia and Azerbaijani conflict. Mustafa Aydin is president of the International Relations Council of Turkey, and Kirill Krivosheev is contributor at Carnegie Russia-Eurasia Center. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. So we are speaking today about the South Caucasus and the role of regional actors in the South Caucasus. And if we look at the map, we see that this very, very tiny region of three countries, Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, is surrounded by much larger countries, namely Iran, Russia, and Turkey. And historically, also those countries at different points of times actually war powers, or the South Caucasus belonged to their territories, right? And we can think of the Russian Empire, of the Ottoman Empire, of the Soviet Union as well. And now things are changing very much. Now it's an independent region, but all these countries are still present there. And despite the fact that none of them somehow for none of these countries, the region is the foreign policy priority, but nevertheless, it's an important region, and they're competing and are present there. So maybe my first question would be to both of you, just to generally explain what the strategic goals of Russia and Turkey in the region are. So Mustafa, let's start with you. How does Turkey view the region?
Okay. Originally, I think the first priority for Turkey was, and still is, to keep the regional countries independent, because their independence assured that Turkey and Russia have a zone there between themselves, so they are not land borders between them, and that's good for security, because of the history of Turkey and Russia for centuries has been problematic, to say the least. So first priority of Turkey is to keep the independence of these countries. In order to have their independence or preserve their independence, they need to be economically stable and politically stable and strong governments. And that was also one of Turkey's intentions. Beyond that, it comes to the national interest of the country, right? Turkey wants to, of course, have an influential relationship with these countries in the region. So far has developed quite good relations with Azerbaijan and Georgia in that sense. One of the biggest trade partners of both countries is Turkey. With Armenia, of course, we have some problems which remains to be solved. And from then on, it goes other interests, like having an economic partnership with the regional countries, as the region is now becoming very influential, very important transport hub for Chinese goods to Europe. One of Turkey's intention is to connect the region through Turkey to Europe, so that benefit from that kind of so-called middle corridor. And finally, there is this energy interest, of course. Not only Azerbaijan, which is very connected in energy-wise to Turkey, both natural gas and oil, but also Turkey has intentions to connect Central Asian countries, Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan especially, through Caspian Sea and through Caucasus to Turkey, so that Turkey could become a regional energy hub. So all this kind of summarizes what Turkey's intentions in the region.
Right. But now you are speaking about Turkey as, transit also, and part of the transit region between China and the European Union, right? Yeah. But would you also say that Turkey has some of its own geopolitical ambition, especially with regard to Central Asia? It's all Turkic-speaking countries. Is there like a great power, agenda, so to say?
Well, I mean, there is, of course, obviously a very close affinity between Turkey and the Central Asian Turkic countries.
And Azerbaijan also.
And Azerbaijan is included there. Actually, initially, if you look at the Turkish policy in the 1990s towards Caucasus and Central Asia, we didn't, at the time, distinguish too much between Turkic and non-Turkic countries. So both Georgia and Tajikistan were included in this wider Eurasian perspective. But gradually, this Turkic Council, an organization, emerged. And there is this interest, of course, linking these countries to Turkey through transport lines, connections, politically, and etc. We understood quite early on in late 1990s that these countries do not want another big brother like they used to have in the Soviet Union, Russian big brother. That was kind of Turkish first instinct towards this region. We'll show you the way to the world. We quite understand that it doesn't work that way. So these are independent countries, but we feel affinity culturally, linguistically, and ethnicity-wise. So there is this aim of connecting. And of course, if the Caucasus is a pacified region and all the roads connections work, that also links Turkey to this Central Asia, wider Eurasia, let's say.
Kirill, let me turn to you and ask you about Russia and Russia's strategic goals in the South Caucasus.
So you know that Russia has used to be the key moderator of this region, and so Russia wants by hook or by crook keep this presence and keep this privileged status for the region. And so actually the main goal is to keep West aside, but frankly, as Russia respects Turkish interests, Russia wants keep Turkey aside as well. Actually. So yes, another key issue is military presence. So you know that Russia lost its presence in both Azerbaijan and Georgia, but so now the key goal is to keep it in Armenia, and we know that there is a military base there in Gyumri. And so now we could not expect that something may change until 2044, but our world is changing so quickly, so now we could never say never again. So I think that Armenia is just the key partner of Russia in this region, and Russia wants to save their influence on this country. But actually, I think that the main agenda for Russia is anti-Western agenda, and in the framework of this, Russia has some kind of mutual understanding with Iran and Turkey and Azerbaijan as well. So we know that now after the military operation in Karabakh, Azerbaijan turned to anti-Western rhetoric, and so it closes this country to Russia, and so we could see even not triangle, but some kind of square. Yeah, yes, four-party union of Russia, Azerbaijan, Iran, and Turkey, and that's yes. Russia wants to see some kind of regional connectivity. So being isolated from the Western market, there is a kind of window of opportunity there. But actually, I'm not pretty sure that this kind of union could be strong enough, because really everything is changing so frequent.
Let me maybe ask you about one very specific change, which came with with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. At least I heard a lot about this argument that Russia is losing its influence in the South Caucasus. But from what you're saying now, I assume that this is not how maybe Russia perceives its role there.
No.
Is it withdrawn from the region? Is it staying there? On what terms?
You see, anti-Western agenda is strong enough, and actually Mr. Aliyev, as you may know, came to Russia just 2 days before the war. And so he signed the declaration on the allied cooperation with Russia. So this makes him the privileged partner. But yes, Russian informal image is diminishing in the region and globally, actually. Yes, the public opinion in both Turkey and Azerbaijan is very much pro-Ukrainian. You may know that even Azeri news websites are blocked in Russia by Roskomnadzor just because of the because of pro-Ukrainian agenda. Unlike Armenia, in Armenia you could view and read just all kind of news, all kind of opinions. Once again, anti-Western agenda is strong, but everybody and Turkey and Azerbaijan not excluded. So everybody sees that Russia's economic power, military power, and the global respect to Russia is decreasing, and therefore you could press on this country so as well as you would like to, and everybody does.
Yeah, let me maybe now zoom in into Armenia and speak about specifically Armenia-Russia and Armenia-Turkey relations. Mustafa, you already mentioned that there are relations, very strong ties with Azerbaijan, there are ties with Georgia, but there is no diplomatic relations with Armenia, and they were broken after, after the First Karabakh War in 1992. And until now, there was no normalization and reestablishment, right? What are the prospects of that? Because there was also one of the issues which is really important for Armenia is the border, the Armenian-Turkish border, which is closed, but it was open when the earthquake in eastern Armenia happened and to deliver the humanitarian aid, right? But it was reclosed, right? So what is the situation?
Okay. Let me first remind people. Usually they don't know this, that there is an Armenian ambassador in Turkey, actually, accredited to Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization. So that person resides in Istanbul. But there is no direct diplomatic relations and exchange of ambassadors between two countries. And it was never established after the independence of Armenia. There were a couple of problems, and some of them have been resolved by time now. Initially, one reason was that the border issue, whether Armenia recognized the international border between Turkey and Armenia, were in suspect. During their independence and declaration of independence, there were some rhetoric, and some people were arguing, not recognizing, etc., from the Armenian side. And the second is, of course, as you said, the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, and specifically part of it, the Hojali massacres and etc., that prompted Turkish public quite, in a way, quite pro-Azerbaijan. And that relations never established. Currently, of course, we tried in the past, about 10 years ago, of course, there was the reconciliation attempt between two countries, went as far as signing a number of protocols, but I guess the publics were not ready, both in Azerbaijan, in Turkey, and Armenia, because this is a kind of a triangular relationship between these three countries. But now, one of the obstacles that the Karabakh issue, in a sense, solved, Turkey and Armenia could now normalize or normalize the relationship. And actually, there are a number of agreements between diplomats, and already officials talked about how to move forward. And they already made some moves. Some of them are not known to the public, but it's already there. For example, Turkish planes now overfly the Armenian territory. and Armenian airlines now fly to Turkey. So people usually don't know about this kind of things. The border itself is, of course, it's more important to Armenia in order to have trade relations with regionally. That seems to be a kind of a hold up there. We don't know what really it is. Because there was an agreement almost now 8 months to open it first to the third countries, citizens of the third countries, and then to open it to Turkish and Armenian citizens. But it stopped somehow. Initial reason was that Armenia was not willing to start negotiations on the peace process in Nagorno-Karabakh. But that's now past. It's moot point at this stage. I'm hoping that soon that border will also be opened, because there is no important reasons, let's say, from either Turkish perspective or Azerbaijani perspective, to keep it close. I suspect there is maybe some request from Azerbaijan to keep the situation as it is until the agreement is signed, peace agreement is signed. I don't know this, but this is a speculation, of course. But otherwise, there is nothing to prevent opening of the border there.
Okay. Kirill, what would you say about Russia-Armenia relations? More recently, the Armenian government turned more to the West, so to say, in their rhetoric, but also in some actions. They are now receiving military equipment from France, for example. They also enhanced their contacts with the United States. The last CSTO summit that happened, or meeting that happened in Minsk, Prime Minister Pashinyan didn't attend it. So, but we also know at the same time that the Armenian infrastructure is basically managed or owned by Russia. Yeah? It's in the field of energy, it concerns the border administration of the country. The railroads as well. So my question is basically, how far can Armenia go realistically in its effort to reach out to the West? And what would be the Russian response to that?
Actually, just today with the colleagues we discussed this issue, what Russia could claim as the price for this. So it could be economic pressure for sure at the Russia's Georgian border. Actually, maybe it would be some kind of media pressure. But I could not imagine something more than this in this particular situation, because yes, Russia is very much involved in Ukrainian war, and therefore it just doesn't have any diplomatic capacity to do anything more. And more of this, you know that Armenia is another partner that helps Russia avoid Western sanctions. So being the part of Eurasian Economic Union, it's the very comfortable situation. So you can bring anything to Armenia, and after this, without any customs formalities, bring these goods to Russia. So that's the privileged partnership. But back to CSTO, yes, I could expect that this is the beginning of the end of this organization. Actually, we didn't see any effectivity of this military bloc.
So basically, Armenia is very much upset that Russia did not come to help when it was invaded. Yeah?
The only reason for Armenia to be there was just the hope that Russia would help somehow or somewhen when Azerbaijan may invade or Azerbaijan may solve the Karabakh issue by war. So everything happened, but Russia actually did nothing to stop it. Yes, and now we may remember just in the beginning, in January of 2022, we expected that CSTO is gonna flourish after the so-called effective operation in Kazakhstan, but now we see that no, it actually some kind of archaic organization. It just it's kind of artifact of Soviet legacy. So it's part of Soviet security system, just saved in this strange union or bloc. So actually, not so many things brings these countries together. And yes, it is not an official divorce yet, but we could see that these partners not already live together. So, and we may know that actually this is what maybe all the divorces start with. So first of all, partners start to live separately. And actually, maybe it's kind of populism by Mr. Pashinyan. We know that populism is the part of his political strategy, but once again, it's actually popular in Armenia to avoiding CSTO events, just distancing from this organization and closing with friends and the Western institutes. It is popular. So therefore, we could say that, so really, Armenian nation wants this.
Yeah. Mustafa, we already spoke a little bit about Russia-Turkey relation with regard to the South Caucasus. I would like to hear your comments on that more generally, but also with regard to the current war between Israel and Hamas. Both Russia and Turkey chose one side in this conflict, namely Hamas. Do you see that it somehow impacts also their dynamics in the South Caucasus, or is it a completely separate issue?
Well, in general, Turkey and Russia competed during the 1990s throughout Eurasia, actually. But at the end of the 1990s, maybe early 2000s, Turkey came to a conclusion that cooperating with Russia in different theater of operations or different regions would be more beneficial to Turkish interests than competing with Russia across all these regions. By this time, of course, Russia and Turkey also had their own pipelines passing through their territories from Central Asia, from the Caspian region. That removed one of the obstacles or one of the reasons for competitions as well. So from then onwards, the priority of Turkey has been to keep the balances that emerged since the end of the Cold War in different regions, like in Central Asia, Caucasus, Black Sea, between Turkey and Russia, so that that balances, equilibrium, will not be disturbed, and the relationship should not turn into a conflicting or competing system. In that sense, Turkey cooperates with Russia in many regions, whenever their interests coincide, and especially in their shared neighborhood, in like Black Sea, Caucasus. These two countries cooperate to keep other countries out of this region, so that their delicate balance between themselves also will not be destroyed. But apart from that, the two countries keep competing at the same time in different theaters, like in Libya, for example. In also Nagorno-Karabakh, they seem to cooperate, but also they took different side, not very openly. In Ukrainian case, definitely Turkey keep its relation with Russia more or less intact, but it also supports Ukraine very heavily. In the Middle East, in fact, in Syria, the two countries do cooperate on a number of issues, but then also do compete and oppose in a number of other issues. They don't see eye to eye, for example, about the future of Syria, but they see eye to eye regarding the US position in Syria and the Middle East, and etc. So it's a very complicated and very delicate balance between two countries. Regarding the current conflict in Gaza Strip, of course, Turkish position has been quite clear from the beginning, or even before the conflict. And Russia also now seems to be siding on the Palestinian side, or Hamas side, let me put it that way. That could help further the understanding between Turkey and Russia about the global issues. How should the global system be emerged or should develop, not specifically with the region. But looking to and I don't see really a direct connection between what's happening in Gaza and what might happen in the Caucasus. But as general understanding of opposing to, let me put it this way, the U.S.
Western world,
understanding of international system,
right.
That kind of fit into that narrative. But otherwise, I don't see locally affecting it too much.
Yeah. If we go back also to Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict, we also see different approaches to resolving it, right? Before the recent offensive of September, there were 3 negotiation tracks, more or less, right? One led by the United States, one by the European Union, and one by Russia. So now the situation has changed again, of course, and many of those, processes have become maybe, if not completely irrelevant, but they need to adapt to the new reality. Basically, Azerbaijan has put the whole territory under its control. It doesn't need a negotiation format, more or less, anymore, right? But my question to you, Kirill, is about Russia and Russia's role in that. How does Russia envision peace or further development of this relationship in the Caucasus? My idea is, or my understanding is, that Russia still wants to stay in the region, and keeping its peacekeeping force there was a very good pretext and a way of doing that. But now the peacekeepers don't have a job to do, right? Because there is nothing to manage, right? So how do you assess that?
So, yes, the absolutely right conclusion is that there is no job for peacekeeping forces, and actually we couldn't even imagine or just figure out any reason for them to stay. And just a matter of time, as I believe. But actually, yes, so Russia, as I already said, wants to stay in the region with any case in any situation, and so Russia tries to persuade all the parties that it is the only player who could solve the conflict. So yes, Russian diplomats, especially Maria Zakharova, you could see that they say that nobody has such a deep knowledge of this region, nobody has such a deep competence in solving these conflicts but Russia, and so there are just 2 options. You listen to Russia or you fail. The map issue is another one. So Russia, yes, try to make us believe that Russia's general staff maps are unique, and you could not just delimitate the border without using these maps, and Russia is the only side that could provide this map to the Armenia and Azerbaijan. But actually, I don't know how could it be effective, because yes, you said that just before this September there were, you said 3, but I believe it's 2 drafts of the peace treaty, Western one and Russian one. But now there is the only Azeri one, and actually absolutely no difference where to sign it. You could sign it in Georgia, you could sign it just somewhere at the border or anywhere else. Yes, as our colleague said, that Azerbaijan bets on so-called internalization of this conflict. So Azerbaijan just presses that he's the only player in this conflict that could solve everything. So I believe that there is no reason for Azerbaijan to listen to Russia and to bet on Russia, and that's the great loss for Russia. And I think that frankly Russia is angry because of it. But again, nobody, not Lavrov, not Maria Zakharova, could express it, frankly, because Azerbaijan is the very important partner for now. So in the matters of the oil export, anyway, just avoiding sanctions, relations with Turkey, and so on. So again, Russia has no tools to influence on this.
Yeah. We spoke mostly today about Russia and Turkey, but overall, I would like to ask you also about other powers that are involved in this region, and more specifically about the European Union, right? The EU has tried or has facilitated discussions between Prime Minister Pashinyan and President Aliyev regarding the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. And it now deployed, or last year deployed, a monitoring mission on the Armenian border. So there is some sort of presence, and there is also an appetite on the EU side, it seems, to get more involved. Yeah, but Mustafa, you already said that. Kirill also alluded to that there is some sort of Russian, Turkish, I don't know, split or business in the South Caucasus, and to me it sounds like they don't want any other players to engage. Yeah. So the question would be, how do they perceive or how do they react to the European Union's role in the region? Maybe more broadly to the West's role, because the United States is also engaged also with the peace treaty facilitation and so on.
Well, I mean, originally, of course, the European Union was nowhere to be seen during the conflict. And actually, it's part of the wider OSCE process. The OSCE Minsk group that was supposed to deal with this issue in the region have failed over the years, repeatedly. Of course, Russia was part of it as a co-chairman, but also France was part of it. And in that sense, the Europeans were part of that failed mechanism. And as a result, I would say, when the war came, the United States and the European Union was left out. The US, of course, was part of the 2008 war between Russia and Georgia, in a sense, and they were left after that, the region to itself, so they were out as well. Now the European Union wants to have an appetite, as you say, they want to come back to the region. But it really surprises me is that the European Union tries to exclude other actors like Turkey, Russia, in its dealing with the region. I mean, Turkey is a negotiating country with the European Union for full membership. Although we are not negotiating anything now, it's in suspense, but nevertheless, we have close cooperation. But the European Union and Turkey have never really cooperated in the Caucasus to achieve anything. And currently, apart from some diplomatic remarks, I don't see a cooperation between Turkey and the European Union where they can actually do cooperate. And the latest case in the Madrid meeting is an example of this. European Union wanted to bring Azerbaijani and Armenian leaders together, and Azerbaijan said, Turkey should be there as well.
Oh, you mean Granada, maybe, no?
Granada, sorry,
yes.
Not Madrid.
The European
Spain,
political
yes.
community,
Yes,
right.
And of course, the European Union didn't want to do that, and the project failed, or the proposal failed. So it's in that sense, it's very difficult for the European Union to come to the region because they want to kick everybody else and create a policy line that they can manage and reconstruct region. But these countries, Turkey and Russia, are the regional countries also. I mean, they are in a sense outside the region, but they are regional. They are part of the Caucasus, wider Caucasus region. So it's almost impossible to do business in there without incorporating these countries. So I see a problematic future for the European involvement there. But nevertheless, European Union have an experience in post-conflict environments to reconstruct and to create peaceful environments. It has money, it has intentions, and it has tools. So if it sustains its efforts and maybe pays a little bit more attention to regional realities, then there is a place for European Union in the Caucasus. And of course, there is this connection to Georgia, extending possible membership or starting negotiations possibly soon with Georgia. That also provides a foothold to Ukraine. But to move it beyond Georgia to Armenia and Azerbaijan would be a little bit more difficult job to do.
Yeah. Kirill.
Oh, yeah. I should say that before the full-scale Ukrainian war, this conflict was unique because it was the sphere not for competition but for cooperation between Russia and the West. Just another unique conflict like this was Afghan conflict. Actually, yes, American diplomats came to Moscow just in 2021, for example, and it was this some kind of sphere for mutual understanding. But now we could easily say that it is not possible just to sit at the same table for American, Russian, European diplomats. And because of this, yes, this region and this conflict became their sphere of competition. It is not good news for the people who live there. But it is our reality, and we should realize it. Actually, yes, that's absolutely true that European Union tries to involve more and more in this region, but actually for now we could see not so many real steps doing so, because yes, France after September clashes and after full-scale occupation of Nagorno-Karabakh by Azerbaijan, yes, France started delivering some kind of weapons to Armenia, but before this nothing happened like this, and the only presence in the region of European Union were the monitors, and actually we couldn't say that they showed big effectiveness, because we know that there were clashes at the border, and these monitors were not there, and when they came they say that so we are too late and we couldn't confirm anything, unfortunately.
I think it was too small a mission to
yes it is too small a mission to do anything. It's more symbolic than real,
but now it's scaling up. I think the idea is to
yes, there is an idea, but until it happened, so we could not say that European Union is very much involved. And actually, you see that even in political sphere and developing peace treaty, Azerbaijan still able to just ignore this European approach, and Mr. Aliyev could just ignore a meeting in Granada, for example, and so I believe that Azerbaijan just bets on the regional cooperation and the internalization, and so we couldn't see anything that could them stop doing this. So they are strong enough for now, and Europe works too slowly in this case, and that's a disadvantage, as I see.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your views. It was a very interesting discussion. We covered maybe not even all regional powers and not even all regional countries. We didn't touch upon Georgia that much, although there is also lots of things to say with regard to Turkey-Georgian relations and Russia-Georgian relations, but we will leave it for the next discussion. And at this stage, I want to thank you for your inputs and hope to see you again.
Thank you for the invitation.